In this part of the hands-on 2 section, we're going to look at getting a push button to work with our Arduino so that you'll be able to press the button and then have your Arduino take some action as a result. Let's have a look at the components that you'll be using in this part. You've got your USB cable and your Arduino Uno and your breadboard. The new components we've got are a push button. It's got a plastic part on the top, which is where you press, and then 4 legs on the bottom. And then you'll also need a 10 kilo ohm resistor that's brown, black, orange and gold on the stripes. And you'll also need some jumper cables to connect everything together. You may be thinking, I know how a push button works. When you press it, it turns on, and when you let go, it turns off. Alas, it's not quite so simple. So what happens is that when you press the button, yes, a connection is made, but when you release the button, there is no connection made, which means that the input of the Arduino is what's called floating. Let's take a look at this slide. When the button is not pressed, it's as if you've got nothing connected to the pin of the Arduino at all. And that means that the input is floating. Floating means that it's affected by any electrical signal that's around it. So if I move my hand over it, that's enough to potentially change the value from 0 to 1. So you can see on the slide how if you look at what's happening when you're connected to pin 2, it's as if it's an antenna or just a piece of wire that's connected to pin 2. And so that means that it's affected by the environment. And when you press it, it connects it to 5 volt. So there's no fixed value when the button is not pressed, which means it could be 0, it could be 1, it depends on the environment around it. Now that's not very useful. So what we need to do is use something that's called a pull-down resistor. And what a pull-down resistor does is it connects the pin 2 to ground very weakly. So if there's no better path for the electricity to flow through, then you'll get a connection to ground. But as soon as you press the button, that suddenly establishes a better connection, and so it will be linked to 5 volts, and then you'll get a high reading when you try to read it. So that's the solution that we're going to use in this particular situation. To connect our button, we need to make sure that there's the pull-down resistor and then the connection from the push button to the signal as well. So let's have a look at putting that together on the breadboard now.